This grainy black and white footage was captured by a truck's onboard camera at exactly 3 AM on one of the most dangerous stretches of highway in the region. The previous driver, who regularly worked this shift, had been involved in a tragic accident on this very same road. This was the first time anyone had driven this route in months. Behind him, someone or something quickly materializes in the cab. A translucent male figure appears before it disappears like it was never there. The current driver remains completely unaware, showing no signs that he senses anything unusual. When company officials later reviewed this footage, they made a chilling discovery. The face of the translucent figure was unmistakably that of the previous driver, the man's predecessor. He had returned to ride along on the journey he never got to finish. Creepy. This footage comes from a man who thought he'd found the perfect apartment, but quickly discovered he wasn't the only one living there. For weeks, his new home had been the source of constant horror. Strange sounds echoing through the rooms at all hours. What started as minor disturbances had escalated into something far more sinister. The man had been documenting these incidents, hoping to capture proof of what was happening in his apartment. But on this particular night, while trying to record content for his social media, the activity reached a terrifying new level.
Looks like a
He approaches one of the rooms where the sounds seem to be coming from, but as he enters the dark space, a drawer suddenly slides open on its own. It startles him so badly that he immediately flees the apartment, too frightened to stay inside. After leaving his apartment in fear, he looks back up at his window, and a silhouette can be seen against the glass, as if claiming ownership of the space he just abandoned. Eventually, he forces himself to return to his apartment, having nowhere else to go. clips serve as a chilling reminder that sometimes when you move into a new place, you're not just getting a home, you might be getting an unwelcome roommate that has no plans to move out. And the fact that it watched him from the window after forcing him to flee shows a level of intelligence and malice that goes beyond simple haunting. For those brave enough to continue living in such circumstances, the question becomes, how long can you share your space with something that clearly doesn't want you there? These photos were shared on Reddit by user DrawRepresentative12 after a Thanksgiving dinner conversation with their grandparents took an unexpectedly chilling turn. It was supposed to be a typical family gathering, sharing stories and catching up over dinner, but when the conversation turned to their grandparents' home security system, things got disturbing quickly. The grandfather pulled out his phone to show some footage from their living room camera, images that had been captured a year earlier in June 2022. What started as innocent security footage had revealed something that left the entire family questioning what was living in their house. The first photo shows a normal living room scene with the grandfather visible in frame, but standing right beside him, almost transparent, is the faint outline of a human figure. The second image zooms in on the same area, now showing the figure alone. It appears to be a young girl with long dark hair, clearly defined but somehow translucent. But the third photo is the most disturbing, showing a figure peeking from a doorway. The head appears completely black, with only the body shape visible against the shadows. What makes this particularly unsettling is that the grandfather insists he was completely alone during the first two images. When the OP shared these photos on Reddit, the response was immediate and intense. Viewers described feeling chills and unease just looking at the images. Some suggested it could be an intruder hiding in the house, but how could someone stand so close without being noticed? Others point to the figure's period clothing and old-fashioned shoes, suggesting something from a different era entirely. The grandparents have only lived in the house for 3 or 4 years, but the presence seems to have made itself at home long before they arrived. This video was recorded by US Air Force medic Anderson, who goes by the TikTok handle House of Anderson. It was August the 19th, 2025, and Anderson was at home recording a casual message for his wife while she was away, the kind of sweet gesture that military couples often share when separated by duty.
At least I'll be home, and so we can prepare for Halloween. But yeah, there's that. Anyway, I just had to check the email real quick. I'll be home in a sec, but I love you crazy.
As Anderson records his video, something begins to appear at the top of the doorframe behind him. A dark shape slowly emerges, almost like something is peering down at him from above. The entity watches him for several moments, studying his movements as he continues filming. Then Anderson hears a sound behind him.
I love you crazy. I love you crazy.
Causing him to pause and look around. By the time he turns to investigate, whatever was watching him has vanished. When Anderson sent this video to his wife, her response was unexpected. She pointed out that before he heard the noise, something had been visible behind him in the doorframe. Going back through the footage, Anderson was shocked to see what his wife had spotted. The presence had been silently observing him during what he thought was a private moment. As a military medic, Anderson is trained to notice details and assess situations quickly, but whatever was watching him had managed to remain completely undetected until the camera revealed its presence. This video was recorded by TikTok user Caitlin while she and her friends were stopped at a traffic light. What started as a typical drive through the city turned into something that left them questioning reality itself.
Why is this guy doing crunches? Where is he? Where is he? Ah! Oh no, he ran away! It's because you said that. He's gone. Wait, where'd he go?
The clip shows the man clearly visible, performing his unusual roadside workout, but when the camera pans away for just a moment, then returns to the same spot, the man has completely vanished. He's simply gone, as if he never existed. The girls' genuine shock and confusion is evident in their voices. They frantically search the area with the camera, trying to understand where he could have disappeared to, but there's no trace of him anywhere in the frame. The timing makes it particularly puzzling. The camera was only pointed away for seconds, far too brief for anyone to run out of view, especially considering the open area he was in. Some viewers believe this is evidence of reality glitching, a person literally disappearing from existence. Others suggest it's skillful editing, designed to create viral content, but the spontaneous reactions from the girls suggest genuine surprise at what they witnessed. However, did Caitlin capture something impossible? Or is there a logical explanation for this vanishing act? This photograph was shared on Reddit by a restaurant employee who finally captured what their staff had been encountering for over a decade. The image was taken in the attic of their workplace, a historic building with a fascinating past that spans multiple eras and purposes. Originally built as a private residence, the structure later served as a theatre before eventually being converted into the restaurant where it operates today. But with such a rich history come stories. And for the past 10 years, employees have reported numerous paranormal encounters throughout the building, strange sounds during closing time, unexplained cold spots in certain areas, and the persistent feeling of being watched while working alone. Management had grown accustomed to these reports, but had never been able to document any evidence of the alleged activity until the image shows the restaurant's attic storage area filled with the usual collection of boxes and equipment, but standing among the stored items is a dark, humanoid figure. The entity appears as a solid black silhouette, clearly defined against the lighter background of the storage space. What makes this photo particularly compelling is how the figure seems to be positioned naturally in the space, almost like it belongs there. For the restaurant staff, this photograph validates years of unexplained experiences. It provides the first visual evidence that something unusual may indeed be sharing their workplace. But after seeing this mysterious shadowy figure, nobody has any idea just who it is or why it's there. This footage was captured by a group of construction workers in Indonesia during what should have been a peaceful rest period after hours of renovation work. The crew had been working on renovating a large building and had settled in for the night to get some sleep before continuing their project the next day. The structure they were working in was several stories high. Most of the workers had fallen asleep, exhausted from their labour, but one man remained awake. He had been hearing strange knocking sounds coming from one of the upper floor windows, persistent tapping that continued for what felt like ages. Disturbed by the unexplained noise, he decided to investigate and film whatever might be causing the disturbance. A translucent head-like shape can be seen appearing at the window. Now here's where it gets a bit weird. The window where this face is seen is positioned several floors up from the ground, with no balcony or ledge outside. And directly below the window is a steep cliff drop, making it physically impossible for anyone to be standing there. The knocking sounds that had been disturbing the worker suddenly made sense, but raised even more questions. How could something be tapping on a window that no living person could possibly reach? When the workers later examined the exterior of the building, they confirmed there was no way for a person to access that window from outside. But what do you think this is? Is it something paranormal? This next clip was uploaded by scariest back in July 2022 after reviewing security camera recordings that revealed something unexpected in their home. scariest worked night shifts in the office at a local factory, leaving their house empty during the late night hours when most people would be settling in for the night. For months, everything had been routine. They would leave for work around 10 PM and return home in the early morning hours to a quiet, undisturbed house. But recently, small things had been out of place when they returned. Nothing major, just subtle changes that made them wonder if someone had been inside while they were away. They decided to review their home security footage to see if anything unusual had been captured. The mobile phone recording shows scariest filming their security monitor, reviewing footage from a previous night. A white translucent shape begins to appear in the frame. Whatever it is, moves slowly through the space, almost floating rather than walking. When scariest first saw this footage, she was torn between relief and fear. Relief that it wasn't a human intruder, but fear of what it might actually be. So, I turn the question to you. Just what is this transparent white shape floating around scariest's room? These next clips were uploaded by Melissa and Dara. Melissa had been hearing strange noises throughout her house, unexplained sounds that seemed to come from different rooms when no one else was supposed to be there. On this particular evening, she was home by herself when the activity escalated to a level that compelled her to grab her phone and start recording. What she captured would convince her that something invisible was sharing her living space.
Estoy sola en la casa y se acaba de escuchar una puerta, o sea, como si abrieran una puerta. Específicamente la de la cocina, pero no hay nadie, solo estoy yo. Estaba aquí sentada viendo la novela y haciendo otras cosas. Y aquí está la Chloe y la Sushi. Y de este lado está el Coco y el Rufo, están ahí, acostados. Y la puerta de la cocina está cerrada. Esa puerta de ahí se acaba de escuchar de nuevo. Pero estoy sola. Vean, la Chloe está como pendiente porque, yo no sé, ella ve fantasmas. Pero ella escucha de todo, o sea, suena algo y ella está pendiente. Se acaba de escuchar. No sé si ir. En las películas de terror suena algo y como que... Ay, no. En las películas de terror, cuando suena algo, tú dices que no vayan a ver. Pero obviamente tienen que ir a ver, porque es su casa, no sé, o sea, ahorita como que le di otro sentido. Aparte está lloviendo, y ahorita se acabó de escuchar algo arriba y la puerta y una niña llorar al lado, pero al lado no vive ninguna niña. Y esto yo sí les he dicho en videos, que siempre en la casa de al lado suena, o sea, se escucha como una niña reírse y llorar, pero al lado no vive una niña. No hay niños al lado. Voy a ver lo de la cocina porque... Bueno, arriba no creo que... No, yo arriba no voy. Solo voy a ver lo de la cocina porque ahorita se escucha como... Voy a ver. Ahorita ya no se escucha nada, pero esta puerta está cerrada. Se está moviendo la puerta. Se está moviendo la puerta. Es que no hay nadie, o sea, puede ser un fantasma. Prefiero que sea un fantasma. La Chloe hasta se bajó. Arriba yo no voy porque arriba sí me da miedo. Pero la Chloe está viendo para allá. Ay, no, yo me voy a mi cuarto.
Melissa begins filming while explaining that she's completely alone in the house. She describes hearing what sounds like a door opening, specifically the kitchen door, but insists there's no one else home. Her pets seem to sense something as well, particularly her dog Chloe, who appears alert and focused on areas where Melissa can't see anything. As she continues recording, more sounds can be heard, including what she describes as crying from next door, though she insists no children live in that house. Despite her fear, Melissa decides to investigate the kitchen where the sounds seem to be originating. When she approaches the kitchen door, it begins moving on its own, while Melissa confirms there are no windows open or sources of wind.
Sola, o sea, literal, estaba totalmente sola. Arriba no había nadie, en este piso no había nadie, y abajo hay otro piso y tampoco había nadie. Y se movió la puerta de la cocina. Y lo peor es que no estaba ninguna ventana abierta, no había de algún lugar donde entre viento, nada. Y yo hice como en las películas de terror, o sea, fui a investigar porque estaba sola y es mejor ir a ver, o no sé. Y con esto les quiero contar que ayer me pasó algo porque salí al baño como a las 3 de la mañana. Y en el pasillo de la casa, les voy a enseñar. En este pasillo que es para salir del cuarto se ve directamente la sala, específicamente como que la ventana, esa parte de ahí. Y ayer que salí al baño, yo regresé a ver para allá porque sí da miedo y entonces yo regreso a ver. No pregunten por qué si me da miedo regreso a ver, solo regresé a ver. Y la cosa es que había una silueta como de un señor parado en la ventana y tengo foto. O sea, esta vez sí no fui a investigar ni nada, estaban todos en mi casa, yo no fui porque literal era la silueta de un señor. Acá el otro día como que empezaron a sonar las cosas, pero acá era la silueta de alguien y no se movía para nada. Bueno, en realidad grabé. Vean ahí como una silueta de algo y si se ve como que una luz afuera es porque el farol no se apaga. Vean, aquí le tomé captura y se ve mejor, es una silueta de alguien ahí parado como que en la ventana. Eso sí no me acerqué a ver.
In a follow-up video, Melissa reveals an even more disturbing encounter that happened the night before. She explains that around 3 a.m, she went to the bathroom and noticed a dark silhouette standing by the window. The figure appeared to be that of a man, motionless and watching the house. This time, Melissa was smart enough to capture a photo instead of investigating. The image she shows reveals a distinct human-shaped shadow positioned at the window. For Melissa, these experiences have become too frequent and too frightening to ignore. She's made the decision to never stay alone in the house again, convinced that whatever is happening is beyond her ability to handle alone. The escalating nature of these encounters suggests something is becoming increasingly bold in its presence. Whether this is a supernatural entity making itself known, or something far more dangerous stalking her property, Melissa's instinct to seek safety seems wise. But what do you think has been visiting Melissa's home? Could this be a supernatural presence testing her boundaries, or something far more sinister lurking around her property? This video was uploaded by Sandra1818 with a heartbreaking caption that reveals the emotional context behind what she's been experiencing. Not long had passed since Sandra lost her mother, and in that time, she'd been noticing unexplained activity throughout her home. The captions suggest this wasn't an isolated incident, but part of an ongoing series of mysterious occurrences. And on this particular day, Sandra was ready with her camera when something extraordinary happened.
Things that keep happening in my house since my mom passed away. Like why? I looked underneath the drawer, I looked behind it, there's nothing making it pop out. It seems like it's when I bring up my mom that something happens. Mom? Your cat's fucking weird.
What strikes her the most is the timing of these occurrences. The activity seems to happen specifically when she's thinking about or mentioning her mother. In her grief, these mysterious movements have become a source of comfort. But what do you think is causing these unexplained movements in Sandra's home? Could this be her mother's spirit providing comfort in her time of sorrow? You tell me. Thanks so much for watching. If you're up for more scary videos, check out one of these next. You're gonna love them. Oh, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.